The following will contain spoilers for the anime series. Hello everyone! This is Dragon Videos and I hope all of you are excited for spring as well as Easter. So I thought that since we are suffering a little bit of the winter blues, we might as well try to go over another list of top 5. So for this list, I'm going to focus on some anime. Now, for many of you who recall, they had gone over some best anime girls, or girls that have been having admirable qualities, or something that we can't help but love about them. However, I'm going to go through a different list for the anime series. And this is anime boys. There's always going to be that particular anime boy that we can't help but feel like there's some great admiration for them. I mean, after all, some girls are very nice when they have a guy complimenting them. Not all the time, but it's just something where we'd have to explore anime boys as well. So I'm going to base this list after personality, what they do, and how well known they are. Bear in mind, these are my opinions alone. Didn't expect to see a blue hedgehog on this list, huh? Well, Sonic was technically known as a video game character before it officially had its own anime series. Anyway, in Sonic X, Sonic comes across as this laid-back individual who doesn't have a care in the world and would like to just run around whenever possible. However, when trouble shows up, Sonic brings his A game and tries to put everyone in priority, no matter what the risks are. And he just pays attention to some of his surroundings, along with the aid of his buddy, Tails the Fox, as well as Knuckles the Echidna. He would always go to such extreme lengths to save everyone and everything from Eggman and other dark forces in the universe, until he practically is beaten black and blue. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a bad joke. Anyway, Sonic would go for any lengths to help out his friends, as well as try to be there for him no matter what the cost. He's even a very cheerful fella if you think about it, just someone you'd have for company. Why I put him at number 5 is because he may not be as well known as these other candidates. I don't know if any of you still remember Ash Ketchum in 1996. He was definitely a very interesting character as he was growing and learning of how to be a Pokemon trainer. And true, we've had some issues with his sassy behavior, as well as when he has a tendency of being clueless. And that does happen a lot of times, much to the chagrin of his fellow compatriots. But at least you gotta give him some credit that his level of sass makes up for it, as well as that he's just honest about it all the time. However, the one redeeming character about him is how much he loves and cares for Pokemon. He treats them like they're individual beings with thoughts and feelings more than just some random tool that can be used at will. Even his relationship with Pikachu was a little rocky at first, but His self-sacrificing nature for Pikachu was what won over Pikachu in the first place. Ash really is a wonderful trainer. I would definitely have a huge list for trainers that don't exactly follow Ash's examples of how to raise Pokemon. I know there are some good trainers out there, but let's just say if there was a list of hated Pokemon characters from 1996, that's when the year of the anime began, to basically this year, it'd be a pretty long one at that. And I put him at number 4 because Ash has become a little bit of a too perfect of an item. I mean, true, we still love him because he's just so enthusiastic. No matter what region he's in, no matter what Pokemon he meets, he always gets excited and always seems to be an inspiration to his other friends, as well as the lengths he goes to help save Pokemon. And this is definitely a guy that earns some respect. Despite his fearsome looks, Elias really is a very interesting and mysterious character, but the reason why I put him as best boy is because of his relationship with Chisei. When he's around Chisei, he becomes a bit of a nicer person. He has some issues of expressing emotional feelings for her, but begins to become more apparent over time, and he was the only one who was the first one nice to her in a long time. He even goes out of his way to help Chisei with whatever problem she faces, regardless of it being with regular fairies like the Ariel or taking on the infamous Wandering Jew. Elias will do everything in his power to protect Chisei as well as guide her as being the master spell mage to her apprenticeship. But of course, being unable to understand emotional concepts of humans, he has a tendency of having issues empathizing with others, as well as sometimes dragging Chisei into some very uncomfortable, if not awkward situations. But I put him in number 3 is because of just how caring he is. He always puts Chisei's perspective and tries to make sure she's okay. He tries to acknowledge his feelings and learn more about her, and vice versa. I adore his relationship with her, and I do hope I get to see more of that in the anime in the future. Elias isn't the only one who was a diamond in the rough. Kyo definitely redefines that terminology, especially considering the fact that he's a cat and has a bit of a cat's personality. He always comes off as like that of a tsundere, very harsh and critical, and would explode every time you would even touch him, which is understandable because of a curse, as well as question him. This is definitely a little bit similar to that of Bakugo, only who's a bit nicer to the people he cares about, as well as having a less explosive approach to how he handles people. However, you can't exactly blame him for how he has that attitude. His mother committed suicide, and his father wanted nothing to do with him after that and practically called him a monster. To make matters worse, he would be practically abused, whether emotionally or mentally, by the rest of the Soma family, with the exclusion of his master and those that still care for him. But everything changes when Toru comes to his life. When she's added into the picture, Kyo tries everything in his power to protect her from the darkness of his world, even that of his true form. He really cares about other people, it's just he can't express it very well. He even goes as far as protecting Toru from Akito's wrath when Akito started to badmouth her, as well as trying to say that she's ugly, that she's horrible, and that in some ways she is just lousy. Kyo takes on that abusive crap from Akito just in order to protect Toru. I mean, what a guy! It's just heartbreaking to see him get to that point in life, being reduced to be put into a cage that he was trying so long to break out of from the Soma family, as well as just being accepted. But when he's around Toru, he does everything he can just to protect her before he vanishes out of her life, as well as he goes out of his way to help Toru be assured that it was okay for her to express what she's feeling. And this is why I put him at number 2, is because even though he had a lot of issues, as well as trying to get over the hatred and fear that's been placed all his life, he has a lot of character growth since throughout the series of Fruits Basket, and that just says a lot of how much he's changed from being an explosive tempered person to a loving young man who'll do heaven and earth with Toru. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going through a twofer here. That's right, not one special boy in anime, but 2 special boys in anime. I like them both for very strong reasons. They're a bit similar, but yet so different in so many ways. Let me explain here. With Izuku Midoriya, he was always born quirkless. He didn't have a whole lot of powers and was picked on his whole life, especially from his best childhood friend Bakugo. But despite all that, he still dreams of being a hero one day. And when he had the chance to prove it to his idol All Might, he experiences stuff he'd never dreamed possible. One of the things that I do appreciate about Izuku is how selfless he is. He goes out of his way, even up to the point of damaging his own body, to save the people that he cares about. No matter how big the risks are, no matter how many times the odds are stacked against him, Izuku will still take on every hit and every battle with whatever amount of courage he has, and no matter how badly beaten he is. But don't let all the brawn fool you. He is a very smart strategist. Upon learning his past experiences and what he's learned from other heroes, he's able to grow and develop his own abilities up to the point where he can come up with strategies that don't risk himself or others. Not only that, but his kind-hearted nature really is appreciated. He goes out of his way to help Ochako when she was in danger during the school testing. He even goes as far as trying to help out Eri when she was being treated like a lab rat. I mean, true, it wasn't exactly very hero-like when he left her, but it was a very bad situation if you think about it. And on top of all that, he went out of his way to help some villains, La Brava and Gentle. When he realized of their situation, he just couldn't bear to separate the two, and just practically sacrificed and lied for their sake, which I really hope is beneficial in the future. And despite what he and Homura had together, Izuku wanted nothing more, and this is in the manga but probably will be in anime soon. He promises to save him. Izuku really is one of those amazing characters and protagonists in the shonen anime. He goes throughout the limits, improving and learning from his mistakes to become the better hero he dreams to be. As well as, regardless of what sort of things you've done, regardless if you are a villain or a hero, he'll still go out of his way to save people. It's a lofty goal, but one you can't help respect for. And then, of course, you have Belle Cornell. Like Izuku, he wasn't taken seriously at first. He was always looked down by the other Familia because he is supposedly weak. To make matters worse, he lost his grandfather. Unbeknownst to him, it was actually Zeus, one of the lead gods in the world of Danmachi, who has been passed from one Familia to another and rejected until he met with goddess Hestia. So yeah, both of these boys have been through a really painful situation, and you can't help but give these poor boys some love. Putting that aside, Bell also pushes through his limits, trying to find ways to develop his powers as well as taking some training whenever possible. He even goes trying to explore what options he could have before going into battle, as well as trying to recognize some of the consequences of his actions. But even so, he'll still go out of a way for anyone who's in danger. He's just one of those kind-hearted heroes, regardless if you're that of a Xenos, regardless if you're some sort of thief like we've had with Lilith. With Lily, we had a lot of interesting moments with Bell as he would just push himself further and further. He and Izuku just have such a strong parallel, and I can't help but feel like there's so much respect for these two at all times. He even goes as, even when he's facing off stronger opponents, he still tries to get better and face them off. And of course, his kind-hearted nature always helps him win over a lot of the ladies. I really appreciate of how his kindness just inspires others, even if most of them are female in this series. I feel like the highlight of battles was his battle with Dix. He shows more human in himself than any other reason why when he wants to risk saving the Xenos and putting his reputation on the line just for their sake alone. Selfless, kind-hearted, and trying his best to improve himself, Bell Cranell is also the #1 best boy in anime because of his kind heart that always inspires others to be a hero. If anything, these two boys are practically the perfect examples of what it means to be a hero. So, move over, Hercules, you've got some new contestants. So that's it for me and this list of anime boys. If you feel like there's an anime boy you felt like was the best, please let me know in the comments below. Feel free to do a like, subscribe, as well as comment other things. Also do a request if you have anything else in mind. This is Dragon Videos, signing off.